Bonjour à tous. If we have French people here, just checking. So we are Aldebaran. This is James Dietrich. He is focusing his work on developing a strategic alliance and partnership. And I'm Cedric Vaudel, and I'm leading the sales and marketing operations for North and Latin America. We, Aldebaran, are a company creating robots not to catch bad people, but to make people smile while doing other things. Aldebaran is a star in the sky in the Taurus constellation, and we have a dream. This little star, our dream, is to create robots to help people, for the well-being of humans. We are specialized in social robotics, and once the company has been founded, we started to brainstorm about the design of what our first robot would look like. And we decided to work on humanoids, because we think that humanoid is the ideal type of robot to be used as a companion. Bruno Maisonnier, the CEO of Aldebaran Robotics. The company is French, as you can guess with my accent. And we have been founded in 2005. I joined myself the company in 2009 when we released the first version of the first robot that we have in our family, now NAO, right now on stage. We have been growing up thanks to our community, from 20 to 30 people when I joined the company to now more than 500 people. Half of them are engineers working in the R&D department. We have now several offices, branches all around the world, in Boston, where we are located, headquarters in France, in Paris. In the south of France, too, we also have offices in Tokyo and in Shanghai. We are right now, thanks to the success of the Now robots, the worldwide leader in humanoid robotics. I want to present you some figures, some facts about the company. We have more than 10,000 of these robots in use already, which is quite impressive, especially when we know where we are coming from. I'm not that old. I've been working in robotics only for 5 years now, but still, I realize how everyone in the robotics community has been working hard and expecting for something finally to happen. And finally, it's coming, it's happening. Every day we are looking at more articles and seeing more things coming in. And it helps us a lot, thanks to all the community. We have, as I told you, 10,000 of these robots in use, and we have created 3 robots that are now part of the family. Our vision is to make, as I told you, interactive robots for the well-being of humans and being a companion. So when I was telling you that we were creating robots to make you smile, it is true. And one of the biggest part of our job at the beginning when we started to design robots, to draw sketches and so on, is to focus on the design. For us, it's very important. We are not looking for a robot that would look too much a robot, but we don't want to have a robot that looks like too much a human, because it could be scary. We want to have the right design to engage people, and most of all, to be accepted by the world. We have not been very helped by Hollywood movies for the past 20 to 30 years about robotics, but we have to change that. And I think this is our responsibility in Aldebaran, our role, to try to create a robot that will solve this equation. When we are talking about helping people and creating humanoid robots, we are making people smile, but we are using them in many different areas. And this is where we see the potential, which is wide. We are working in education. We are working with research labs. We are working in healthcare. We are working on the retail market. We are working on autism in hospitals. We have many projects going on. Our vision is always to create a humanoid to be used for specific purposes, which is interacting with someone in a specific environment. So why humanoid robots? As I told you, it has to be accepted by adults and also by the youth generation to be interactive and friendly. As an example, right now, on stage is looking for something to happen, waiting for a voice command, a tactile command. We have something alive here. Everything is pre-programmed, and everything is thought in a way that we are going to use this robot to interact with people, answer to questions, recognize human faces, check hands, and so on. So the natural body language is very important. And on the top of that, what we thought is not only about the hardware, but also about the software architecture inside our robots, so not only now, but all the others in the family, accessible to as much people as possible. What we want to do is not only to push a hardware into a market and only thinking about business, but we want to achieve this dream by having as much people as possible joining this adventure and to create something new, something disruptive. Here you go, guys. This is the brand new family of Aldebaran. We are proud to have today 3 robots. The first one now, first version released in 2009, 10,000 robots in use right now in 48 countries. Following by Romeo, the biggest guy on the left, still a humanoid, funded by the European government to work on a research project that was to create a humanoid to help elderly with disabilities. And thanks to a 3 years project, we have been able to create this very sophisticated humanoid robot. And we have right now 10 prototypes that are in use, that we implemented, in hospitals in Europe and also in research labs to keep improving the platform and to release next year a Romeo version 2 with more features. Basically, the idea of Romeo is to capitalize on our experience with Now. So we are talking still about a biped robot, embedding more features. And as you can see, Now is small. So when you want to use it as a companion in healthcare, in hospitals, or at home to help elderly, the size is quite a constraint. So we had to create something bigger that will be able to carry on people, that will be able to carry a tray with food, that will be able to be really adapted to a human environment because everything is bigger. If we want to use Now in a hospital, we'll have to use a mini hospital. So we have to be realistic. Romeo can open doors, he can climb stairs, and he can have the same interaction with humans. And I'm not only talking about an interaction and having a conversation, but really using it as a personal assistant, as a healthcare aid tool to people working in hospitals. We have developers in our team working on apps, including some interactive games to work on Alzheimer with the elderly that are losing memory. Using Romeo to prevent a fall. He's detecting that someone is falling, so he will send an alert to a nurse. Or either reminding to take the pill at a certain time during the day, and so on. The apps are limitless. Part of the story of Aldebaran is like Christopher Columbus. We had a nice boat. We are discovering a new country, but it's so wide, and sometimes we have good surprise, sometimes we have bad surprise. This is part of the business. 3 years ago, we had a good surprise. We met a big company that was visionary, and this is the type of partner we're looking for, a company that wanted, like us, to change the world. They met about 16 to 17 different robotics companies all around the world, and they decided to choose us, Aldebaran, and they asked us to create from scratch, based on our experience with Now and Romeo, a brand new robot for them. The objective for them was to implement, at the first phase of this project, the robot that you just saw, sorry. It was a very quick video, very short. I want to show it again. Can I? Yeah, it's the other one. So its name is Pepper. It has been released 4 months ago, and the name of this partner is SoftBank. So as you might know, SoftBank is specialized in telecom, but they were looking for this disruptive technology. People are getting bored with smartphone. SoftBank is anticipating something coming with robotics that will soon replace this type of technology. And so they invested a lot of resources in Aldebaran, and we have this promise to build Pepper for them. Right now, they are still in phase 1, and they are using Pepper as a greeter robot to welcome their customers in their stores. But it's not only about greeting people, it's also about entertaining them, about giving them information about their products and so on. And also, it's also giving the possibility to other partners that SoftBank has to use Pepper robots. So for example, 2 weeks ago, we signed a deal with Nestlé, the big company Nestlé, and Nestlé decided to launch a pilot project with 1,000 Pepper to implement only in Japan in their Nespresso stores. So Pepper will be used as a greeter to welcome people in Nespresso stores and to inform people about new coffee and so on. So again, another example. Going back to Now, and actually all the other robots that we have, our motto is that everything is possible. And it's about letting your imagination running wild. What we want to create is something new, and as I told you, we want everyone to help us to achieve this dream. Now, for example, is a humanoid robot that is fully programmable. So we provide with Now not only the hardware technology, but also the software environment to have developers, students, being able to program the robot. This guy is fully programmable. So we provide the SDK. We provide state-of-the-art APIs, including speech recognition, human face recognition, ball tracking, grasping, walking, text-to-speech synthesis. And any user is free to use our modules. They are free to program whatever they want because the platform is open. Thanks to that, this is how we became quite successful in education. We created actually a software with a very user-friendly interface to have kids being able to also be part of this dream and to also have that chance to use a very sophisticated platform with a very easy way to program. A very brief description of Now. 2 HD cameras, infrared eyes, 2 speakers, so now you can speak in 25 languages. Pepper will speak soon also various languages, which will be very useful not only in retail stores, but as you can imagine in any places like hotels or airports when you have people coming from all over the world. It has 25 degrees of freedom, sonars with transmitter and receiver, 4 microphones with sound localization. Something very important for the balance of a biped robot is the balance, obviously. So 3 accelerometers, 2 gyroscopes, pressure sensors under each foot, grasping hands, a Wi-Fi card, so now it's connected to the internet, and it can automatically, if you want so, upload new behaviors and getting refreshed on updates of the software. Autonomy of 1.5 hours using lithium battery. We're about to release a dock station for Now, as we did for Pepper. Everything is embedded, fully autonomous robots, and any user have access to all the sensors, everything inside the robot to program new behaviors And if they want to upload those behaviors in our platform, they can then share them to our community. So tomorrow, our dream is to have a new version of Now at home. This is the big dream of Aldebaran. Since we want to involve as many people as possible, we want also to share this experience. In a year from now, second semester of next year, we will launch a new version of Now for individuals, for the consumer market. And I can answer two answers later, but I think that it's going to be too difficult for me to describe you all the apps, all the applications, how we can use Now in a home. It's just limitless. To me, Now will be tomorrow the center of the smart home, connected to any devices and connected to the web, to the cloud, to internet. And that will be the ideal type of companion. I imagine my dream is tomorrow I go back home and I have a friend to welcome me. So I also have my family, no doubt on that. But I will have a friend. I'm working hard every day. I'm not lucky yet to have children. But when I will have, I would like just my kids to have a robot like that, to help them to do their homework, like Now is used today in schools. And once I will be home, I will be maybe replacing Now a little bit and spend time with my kids. But this is the idea of Aldebaran, is a robot as a companion that will be shared by all the family. And a robot that finally will provide something else than the type of technology that we are using today. Right now, when I need something, I have to do something. I have to look for information. When I'm sick, I need to do something. I need to call the doctor. I need to check the web and look for information on how to cure myself. Tomorrow, with such a friend, it will help me, and it will advise me before I know what I need. And this is the big change. So because, as you can imagine, we are launching next year a consumer version of Now, we are looking for more developers to join our community and to develop more apps, more content, so that tomorrow the experience for our users on Now will be even better. Talking about the future of Aldebaran, we have a great partner right now, SoftBank, but we are also looking to develop new robots, and this is what we are currently actually doing in our R&D department, thinking about new projects, and we are working hard today to find new partners like SoftBank to achieve our dreams. We are looking for partners for the version of Now for the consumer market, but not only, also for healthcare. This is also for us a big priority, as we want to help people with our robots, is to create partnerships and to look for investors so that in about 3 years from now, we'll be able to release a new generation of robots, especially designed for healthcare purposes. Thank you. So I invite you to ask us any questions that you want. Yes?
How tall is the Romeo?
Romeo, that's a good question. I'm not quite sure with the metric system. I'm going to answer in a very European way. 1 meter 60? Yeah.
Would that be 1.6 meters?
I'm sorry? 1 point? Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
Not necessarily true. I think.
Don't you think that Pepper looks like a little bit female? I don't.
So, in my personal opinion, Pepper has very feminine characteristics. The Japanese, where Pepper is now located, they refuse to acknowledge that it could be feminine. To them, it's a boy. I look at Now though, and it's got biceps. It's got sort of broad features. That to me is a male, but. The whole concept of assigning gender.
Yes, Now.
The whole concept of assigning gender to a robot is sort of part of the acceptance process, which is really important to welcoming these into the home and trusting them. So it's acknowledging existence. Sure, I think. I don't know.
What's the expected list price of now?
I'm sorry?
The expected list price of now?
So this is an $8,000 robot right now, and that comes with a full warranty for maintenance and support and everything that our office in Boston, Paris, Tokyo, and Shanghai could maintain for you. And that comes with all of the SDK and the programming software and virtual environments.
There's some commands you can demo.
Absolutely, yeah. And I actually welcome you to join us after the session to have a one-on-one demo if you like. Now, are you ready? I know you're a bit jet lagged, right?
What would you like me to do?
Is it yours or mine?
Yeah, I don't know if we have a table we can drag.
Pardon.
Is it yours or mine?
Come on.
What would you like me to do for you? Harov and Palace. I am really proud of this dance. I found it.
How to do it, digga, what to do without you? What to think I do to me, but also with you. What to do it, digga, how to do without you? You're my all-star. How to do it, digga, what to do without you? What to think I do to me, but also with you. What to do it, digga, how to do without you? You're my all-star. All-star. How to do it, digga, what to do without you? What to think I do to me, but also with you. What to do it, digga, how to do without you?
Thank you, Noah. So
would you like me to
you're
do?
going to say, well, that's
Bump it,
fun.
buddy.
That's very entertaining. This is a dancing
Sorry,
robot,
what
but
did
so
you
what?
say?
The purpose here is not to show you that robot can dance, the Now can dance. That is cool. But what we want to show is an example of how Now is being used in classroom. And this type of dance is actually students that are programming the robot to dance. And this is key. Now is mainly used in education, and we have developed curriculum with some partners in the US, especially to be aligned with the Common Core standards, so that students can be much more engaged in STEM education. And obviously, when they are using this type of technology, they are having a lot of fun when learning programming and mechatronics. So this is the idea here. What we want to show is how we can involve students. The curriculum that we created goes from Key to 12. And we have a library of 5 curriculums so far with multiple apps available. I think I have a question over there.
Yeah. What's your take on Jibo's approach of not using a human form until focusing on virtual lives?
So yeah. So that's great, actually. Every new robots that are coming into the market are not. I'm not seen. I don't see this company as competitor, but more as friends, because they are helping us to evangelize the use of robots, especially in the consumer market with Jibo. I have a lot of respect for Cynthia Brazil. She's doing an amazing work. Then I think it's a pretty different type of platform. While you see Jibo, which is a small robot,
3 degrees of freedom.
which is for me quite limited in terms of features. And I'm not saying that the potential in terms of apps is amazing, but with this type of robot, we are looking for something else. Jibo, basically, I don't know if you've seen the video of the pre-launch, but Jibo is on the table of the kitchen and is moving a little bit. And then if you go to your bathroom, you need to take your Jibo to go. Well, I want now to follow me. I'm too lazy. I'm French, so.
Sure.
You mentioned a new version of Now is going to be for home. I'm looking at the photographs. It seems like Romeo is a better robot for home because it can navigate the home a little better. How's the new version of
You'll notice that we never said what size the new now would be.
Well, yeah, I don't want to go into too much details about the features of the new now, but I think it's just a matter right now of a constraint in terms of technologies versus price. I think what we want to do also is to have something affordable for the consumer market. And obviously, when you see Romeo, the price tag of Romeo is $250,000. I don't think we got something here. So what we are working on, though, is to have a cheaper version of Now. So as James mentioned before, we have a price tag right now of $8,000 because it's coming with software, SDK, curriculum for education, and so on. We have a special price for developers that wants to join a community and wants to develop apps with us. This price is $6,000, and hopefully next year we'll be able to have a new version with even a better price. So.
I have a question. It's basically like our iPhone. We can be able to go in there, program it, create an app on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's much more powerful than you can move it. So who's responsible if I program it to do something that's not?
That's not.
We are not.
I mean, I don't know.
It's a perfectly valid question. I mean, I don't think anybody's really sort of crossed that bridge yet of sort of ethics behind programming a robot to do heinous things like pick up a knife and hurt somebody. I think the law would come back to the developer. And you know, these robots are never going to be that autonomous that it's going to one day decide it doesn't like you, go to the kitchen, find something, and take care of it. The whole concept of Terminator and you know what Hollywood has shown us again is terribly damaging to our progress. But
and by the way, to answer to your question, through the developer program, we have a team in Aldebaran, of course, that is taking care of our community, and we have a workflow process to validate the apps, and so we try to prevent also to have apps that are too scary or too dangerous. So, yeah, so it's part of the program.
right here in the front.
Can you maybe elaborate on the benefits of having a robot companion, and have there been any scientific studies to validate those benefits?
I don't know of specific scientific studies, but I think, you know, all of us can acknowledge the fact that if we leave our house one day without our cell phone, that's a terrible day, isn't it? You feel like a true part of you is missing. And that's, I think, the bridge we're trying to sort of connect is the fact that you're much more likely to want to interact with a physical shape, something that can actually have a dialogue and a back and forth with you than just necessarily holding down on the center button and asking Siri or Cortana or something else to do something for you. I think I'm getting off topic here. What was, but
Like, what are the benefits of having a robot?
sure. I think we're all still trying to figure out what those benefits might be, and I think all of us here would agree that each of those will be individually assigned. You know, I know that coming home, I typically have 8, 9, 10 different things I need to do before I can get on with the rest of my night. A robot could be handling a lot of that. Could be, you know, reading my emails, doing things for me while I'm cooking, while I'm, you know, processing. So, I mean, there's any number of different things it can do. Like Cedric said, it could be, you know, doing homework with your children. It could be helping on some of the small tasks there. So,
So I was curious to know, so what types of people work in Aldebaran on the user interface? Anthropologists, psychologists, what types of people you have in-house or out-of-house helping you shape robots?
So that's a good question. So we have an organization of, as I told you, 500 people. Half of them are working in the R&D department. And among this R&D department, we have various team or groups of people working together. Some of them are working on the software. Some of them are working on the hardware. And part of the team working on the design of this robot and new robots are coming from mostly like industrial, the industrial worlds and the design and conception. But we also have people that I was not expecting to meet when I joined Aldebaran, to be honest. We are, for example, comedians that are working on body language. We have a psychologist because we have a team dedicated on autism. And now is actually used also in hospitals and in schools having special educations. So, for example, we have a psychologist working to develop new apps, especially to have these new apps to improve communication skills. Just a small parenthesis about autism, because this is a big thing for us. We are working hard. We have been working hard to develop not only apps for the robot, but also a dedicated software interface to have therapists and teachers working on autism being able to use the robots. So basically, they trigger behaviors, and based on the different exercises that we have that we're working on elaborating, with research labs, we are trying to have this, to bridge this gap that autistic children have with people. As you can understand, they feel much more comfortable in talking with technology, and especially with robots, because a robot is much more predictable than a human. And so they feel more comfortable to interact with such a device. So this is what we have been doing for 3 years. Another example of how we can...
I think if I could answer that in a completely different way, I don't think we need psychologists and people like that working at our company. We have dreamers and creative people, people who are really passionate, and we're all human beings. We know how we want to interact with other human beings or other things in our ecosystems. So that, to me, is sort of all we need. People who are constantly coming up with outlandish ideas, testing them, and finding out which makes sense. So I don't, outside of anything we're doing for autism, which we have a couple of neuropsychologists and people with really large PhDs, I don't need anything else.
I think I have a question now.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So
Completely fair.
I think it's part of the plan. You have to compare robots as computers. So depending on the software that you're going to put on a computer, you're going to use it in a different way. So our robots are evolutive. Depending on the apps that we are on the robots, they're going to do various things. So if we are talking, about the paper project, that has been anticipated with SoftBank. We want something that is engaging. And if we have visitors that are coming back to the store, we want to have something different to tell. And so part of the program is to have actually on a weekly basis or monthly basis new apps that are developed and implemented on the robot to have different stories to tell.
So right now it's strictly a gimmick. It's entertaining. It's greeting you. But in a couple months, couple weeks, it will have really detailed product information. It can actually help you with questions about things you want to purchase in the store, promotions going on. If you need to get queued up for service or an upgrade, it can do that. To Cedric's point, if you were to be a repeat customer and have information about your profile stored, that robot can then recall that and understand, sort of past history of your activity in the store. So there's going to continue to be sort of new use cases created, but I mean it's fair. I want to get this,
the best
the young
actually,
guy, though. He's got
the best
great
actually example that I have is figures. Just to share with you, we have launched Paper 5 months ago. SoftBank had an increase of 50% per store in the traffic, which is huge. But the key thing is that 5 months after, by developing new apps and bringing new contents, we don't see this curve decreasing. We still have the same capacity to generate more traffic.
You said that you now would be cheaper than the reality without the app. So how much would that approximately be?
I like your questions, but I can't answer right now. It's too early. We are working on it. Yeah.
Do you have any interchangeable or customizable parts for any of the 3 bots?
I didn't understand.
interchangeable or customizable parts on any of the 3 bots?
No, currently we don't have that. What we can do is to design new robot based on what we have been creating with the 3 robots that we have. But we don't have like robots like now or Pepper that can be customized or modified. Not currently.
Can you speak a little bit more about the application API or SDK and what languages you might write in to create apps for the robot?
Absolutely. So we have 2 layers of programming. We have the operating system that we created internally called Naoki. The interesting thing is that we want to have the same system for every robot that we are developing. So Pepper is running also Naoki as well as Romeo. It's based on Linux. On the top of that, we have a library of APIs. Now, for example, is fully programmable. You can program in C, C++, Python, .NET, Java. And we provide the SDK for every programming language.
Still need charging.
It's open source? No OS?
I'm sorry?
No OS is open source?
No, it's
No,
not. It's
not
proprietary.
I think we have time for a couple more.
Planning to have a connected robot type of scenario where you actually have apps that you can download it.
It's actually the case already.
Yeah.
We have a
If
Wi-Fi card embedding in Now, and Now is already capable of, as I told you, to update the software, automatic updates, as well as updating the apps, like you have on your iPhone or Android, automatically, as well as upload new apps if you want to download your apps. So we are
We've got a
using that
storefront
system.
that's already sort of created. Right now, when you purchase a robot, you register the robot with the community. You can just go in, and there's an entire library of applications you can choose from. Again, a lot of them are very simple and basic in nature, but that's what we're hoping for developers to really latch onto and find an actual sort of market for themselves to make money off their efforts. So, probably one more, I think.
You mentioned registering, so I know it's not a vehicle, but kind of goes in that direction. So do you imagine all the robots being registered, insured, and then somehow not smog, but something like that related collectively? And there'll be some kind of department regulating every robot must have registered, must be insured, maybe smog.
I don't know if that's necessary. I mean, I've got pretty comprehensive insurance that if my laptop is stolen, it's covered. I would sort of regard this in a very similar manner.
Battery is totally empty.
Oh.
Well,
I think it means the end of the Q&A.
yeah, I mean, the general
Thank you,
sort of
Noel.
registration of it is something that we're taking on.